नमस्कार। आज 3 अप्रैल 2022 हार्ट केयर फाउंडेशन ऑफ इंडिया की एक्सपर्ट ग्रुप ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट राउंड टेबल में हमारे सभी एक्सपर्ट्स का और जो व्यूअर्स DRKK अग्रवाल यूट्यूब एंड फेसबुक पेज पे देख रहे हैं उन सबका स्वागत है। और जैसा कि जानते हैं कि आज का हमने जो टॉपिक लिया हुआ है तो हमने इस सब्जेक्ट पे कई बार डिस्कशन किया, बट जो रिसेंट जो अभी रिपोर्ट IQAir स्विस ग्रुप ने रिलीज की है 22 मार्च 2022 को, वर्ल्ड एयर क्वालिटी रिपोर्ट 2021, उस पर हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे एंड व्हाट कंक्रीट स्टेप्स कैन बी आर नीडेड टू इम्प्रूव द एयर क्वालिटी फॉर बेटर हेल्थ। इसलिए भी मैंने इस टॉपिक को लिया क्योंकि लास्ट 1.5 ईयर से हमारी जो राउंड टेबल डॉक्टर KK SCFI हार्ट केयर फाउंडेशन इंडिया की चल रही है, जो लेट डॉक्टर KK अग्रवाल जी ने स्टार्ट की, और उसके बाद उनकी ब्लेसिंग से उनका जो कंट्रीब्यूशन को और कि सो मस्ट गो ऑन हम लोग इसको जो है कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं। और अभी 1 अप्रैल से 7 अप्रैल तक वर्ल्ड हेल्थ वीक सेलिब्रेट कर रहा है हार्ट केयर फाउंडेशन इंडिया। डॉक्टर KK SCFI सेलिब्रेटिंग वर्ल्ड हेल्थ वीक, जो 7 अप्रैल को वर्ल्ड हेल्थ डे होता है, उसी के उपलक्ष्य में तो उसमें डिफरेंट एक्टिविटी हो रही है। ये राउंड टेबल इज आल्सो द पार्ट ऑफ दैट सेलिब्रेशन। तो उसीलिए हमने बेटर हेल्थ के लिए इससे अच्छा और क्या हो सकता है कि अगर एयर क्वालिटी हमारी इम्प्रूव रहे। और टॉपिक इसलिए भी रिलेवेंट है कि ऑल वी नो दैट द एयर पोल्यूशन नाउ कंसीडर्ड टू बी वर्ल्ड लार्जेस्ट एनवायरमेंटल हेल्थ थ्रेट, और जो अकाउंटिंग फॉर 7 मिलियंस जो है डेथ्स अराउंड एवरी ईयर। तो ये एक हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट है, तो हम लोग कई बार डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, और आई थिंक ऑल फोरम्स में, गवर्नमेंट नॉन गवर्नमेंट फोरम पर ये डिस्कस होता रहा। एयर पोल्यूशन दैट वी ऑल नो द causes and aggravate many diseases ranging from asthma to cancer, जो लंग कैंसर, लंग इलनेस है, और हार्ट डिसीजेज हैं इंक्लूडिंग अल्ट्राफाइन पार्टिकल्स, हमने डिस्कस किया है 2 बार में PM1 वगैरह में, और 2.5 इज एग्रीवेटिंग दी हार्ट डिसीजेज। और इट इज आल्सो एज पर रिपोर्ट इज एस्टिमेटेड दैट दी around 40,000 deaths in children in 2021 under the age of 5 years is directly linked to the PM 2.5. Though definitely it has to be substantiated with the data from the hospitals and research. और जो वर्ल्ड एयर क्वालिटी रिपोर्ट बेसिकली जो है, दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन द ओनली द पैरामीटर, वन पैरामीटर PM 2.5। दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट हमारी कई फोरम में कि अगर जो इम्पोर्टेंट जो है गैसेस हैं इंक्लूडिंग जो नॉक्स है, और इसको इंक्लूड नहीं किया गया है मोस्टली वो जो इस रिपोर्ट में। और इसमें सभी ने रिपोर्ट देखी होगी कि जो दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन द PM 2.5 एयर क्वालिटी डाटा फ्रॉम द 6,475 cities in 107 countries, regions and the territory। और PM 2.5 डेटा यूटिलाइज जो लेटेस्ट WHO एयर क्वालिटी गाइडलाइंस, और उसमें वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू अचीव। जो एनुअल PM 2.5 कंसंट्रेशन इज 5 माइक्रोग्राम, फ्रॉम दी 10 माइक्रोग्राम टू 5 माइक्रोग्राम। Particularly countries in East Asia, South East Asia and South Asia are suffered from the जो highest जो annual PM 2.5 concentration। और जो out of 107 capital cities जो उन्होंने लिस्ट की हैं, only 4 capital city are meeting with the PM 2.5 जो guidelines हैं WHO की of the 5 microgram। very very difficult to achieve। और जो न्यू दिल्ली is the most polluted capital city as per the annual PM 2.5 concentration। So in India, other cities like Bhiwadi, the Rajasthan, in Alwar district, is the most polluted city in the world, that will say। अभी हमारे रिपोर्ट भी मैं देख रहा था, आई थिंक कल टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में भी थी, भिवाड़ी का जो है उन्होंने दिया हुआ था, जिसमें PM जो 2.5 है 106.2 जो है माइक्रोग्राम हुआ। और इसमें हमारे जो 4 सिटी जो हैं वो वर्ल्ड मोस्ट पोल्यूटेड में, लाइक गाजियाबाद, दिल्ली, जौनपुर, ये 4 सिटी जो हैं आउट ऑफ दिस जो है टॉप जो है 10 सिटीज में हैं। तो ये बहुत बड़ा हमारे लिए चैलेंज है। और डेफिनेटली हमें PM 2.5 जिस सोर्सेस से जनरेट होता है, पर्टिकुलरली जो है आपके, चाहे वो कंबशन ऑफ जो है इंटरनल जो कंबशन ऑफ जो है इंजन्स का है और इंटरनल कंबशन इंजन से है, चाहे पावर जनरेशन के हम कोल यूज कर रहे हैं इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोसेसेस में, हम दो बहुत चेक होता है पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड से, फिर भी जो है वुड एंड कोल यूज होता है, दो NCR में PNG एंड ऑल जो है यूज हो रहा है विद द डायरेक्टिव ऑफ द कमीशन फॉर एयर क्वालिटी जो है उसकी, और पहले कान भी करते रहे। फिर भी कई रूरल एरिया में वुड एंड कोल बर्निंग हो रही है और भी जगह हो रहा है, और नेचुरल सोर्सेस आल्सो, बिकॉज हम इंडोगैजेटिक प्लेन में हैं, डस्ट स्टॉर्म्स एंड अदर स्टॉर्म्स आल्सो द पार्ट ऑफ दिस जो है। सो और हमारे जितने भी सिटीज हैं, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि जो करीब 48%, अराउंड 50% सिटी इन इंडिया जो है उनमें PM 2.5 कंसंट्रेशन इज 10 टाइम्स मोर देन दी जो WHO की लिमिट है। दीज आर दी वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट जो है और डिस्कशन पॉइंट्स हमारे रहेंगे। हम इस पर डिस्कस करेंगे कि हमें क्या कंक्रीट स्टेप्स, हम लास्ट डॉक्टर जॉर्ज से इनफॉर्मली डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि 10 ईयर में बहुत कुछ हुआ, पर्टिकुलरली दिल्ली NCR में बहुत कुछ स्टेप्स लिए गए, बहुत से एक्शन प्लान आए, ग्रैप जो ग्रैप का प्रोग्राम था, स्टेट स्पेसिफिक एक्शन प्लान बना, रीजनल स्पेक एयर सेट पे भी बात हुई, वो भी स्पेसिफिक प्लान बना, NCAP का जो है जो नॉन अटेनमेंट सिटीज हैं उन पर डिस्कशन हुआ, और उसमें 2019 में जो फाइनल नोटिफाई हुआ इसमें कि भाई जो है 2024 20-30% PM रिडक्शन होगा, इस पे भी काम हो रहा है, बट डेफिनेटली फंड्स एंड अदर इश्यूज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर द सिटीज। तो ये बहुत कुछ किया गया, बट हम जो है जो हमें जितना अचीव करना चाहिए, दो डायनेमिक प्रोसेस, और हमेशा पॉपुलेशन बढ़ती है, इंडस्ट्री बढ़ती है, व्हीकल बढ़ती है, तो ये बढ़ेगा सब कुछ, तो ये दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो मैं आज फिर रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा हमारे जो वरिष्ठ हमारे जो हैं और हम सबके जो मेंटर हैं और हम सबके जो यहाँ पे हम गुरु कह सकते हैं, श्री पार्थोस त्यागी जी से, कि एटलीस्ट हमें अपनी ब्लेसिंग के साथ आप अपनी शुरुआत करें, सेशन को चेयर करते हुए अपनी जो है जो रिमार्क के साथ हम इसको शुरुआत करते हैं। देन आई विल रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर जॉर्ज। पार्थोस त्यागी सर।
सबको नमस्कार।
नमस्कार सर।
डॉक्टर अनिल कुमार, आप बड़ी भारी मेरी परीक्षा ले लेते हैं शुरू में।
सर नहीं सर, आपकी ब्लेसिंग से सब सही काम होता है,
आदर सहित
सब काम आपके उससे सब होता है सर।
अच्छा, एयर पोल्यूशन हम सब लोग जानते हैं कि ऑटोमोबाइल से भी होता है, इंडस्ट्रीज से भी होता है, घरों से भी होता है, सब जगह से होता है। कहाँ से कम किया जा सकता है इसके ऊपर तो एक एक करके बहुत देर तक विचार किया जा सकता है, मगर मुझे लगता है कि जहाँ ये होना ही नहीं चाहिए और फिर भी होता है, वो तो कम से कम अवॉइड होना चाहिए। एग्जाम्पल है कि ये जो डीजल सेट्स हैं, ये पावर ब्रेकडाउन की वजह से चलते हैं। अगर पावर ब्रेकडाउन ना हो, जहाँ तक मुझे मालूम है प्रेजेंट generating capacity in India is adequate to meet its present demand, and therefore there is no reason, if the distribution is done properly, if the junction points etc are taken care of, that there should be a breakdown at all. But होएगा भी तो बहुत थोड़ी देर के लिए होने चाहिए, इतना थोड़ा कि लोगों को जनरेटर्स रखने की जरूरत महसूस ना हो। तो ये एक बहुत ही अवॉइडेबल सोर्स ऑफ पोल्यूशन है, और इस तरह के जो अवॉइडेबल सोर्सेज ऑफ पोल्यूशन है वो तो बिल्कुल एलिमिनेट हो जाने चाहिए। दूसरी सिमिलर एग्जांपल है रीसस्पेंशन ऑफ डस्ट। डस्ट बन गई, क्रशिंग की वजह से बन गई, कहीं से आके इकट्ठी हो गई, जैसे भी बन गई, और वो फिर वहां से बाहर ही नहीं निकलती, रीसस्पेंड होती रहती है, रात में बैठती रहती है, सुबह से फिर वहीं घूमती रहती है। अगर किसी डायरेक्शन में बढ़ती है तो अप स्ट्रीम साइड की डाउन स्ट्रीम साइड में आके उसे मेकअप कर देती है। ये इस तरह के जितने भी एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, दे शुड बी टैकल्ड फर्स्ट। और जैसे कि सड़कों का वैक्यूम क्लीनिंग इज नॉट सो वेरी एक्सपेंसिव कंपेयर टू the expenditure that is now being done on a very large number of fleet in trying to manually clean them. तीसरा ख्याल मुझे ये आता है कि जिसको ग्रीन बेल्ट कहते हैं उसको ग्रीन बेल्ट की तरह नहीं इस्तेमाल किया गया। एवेन्यूज हैं, कहीं पे पार्क हैं, कहीं कुछ और है, they are all added when you say so much is green in our city. But whether this greenery has been so arranged by design that it will arrest entry of dust into the city, that is very important. क्योंकि green belts can be used actually as a wall against entry of fine dust and odor or any other thing, because greenery is very good arrestor of both sound, odor and dust. So rather than increasing the number of quantity of greenery in the city, there should be a definite planning to arrest pollution by creating green belts at appropriate places in view of the meteorological conditions. I don't want to speak more because I do not know more. And
आपने सर बिल्कुल टू द पॉइंट बात की और मेरा भी यही है कि पर्टिकुलरली जो सर
others should also have an opportunity to
सर तो मेरा भी यही है जो एक्सपीरियंस था कि जो डस्ट के अरेस्ट के लिए आइदर ग्रीन और पेव, दैट इज द ओनली आई थिंक जो भी हमारे पास ओपन स्पेस है डस्ट जनरेटिंग है, पॉसिबल हो आइदर ग्रीन और पेव, अगर नहीं जहां ग्रीनिंग हो सकती है पेवमेंट कर, बिकॉज डस्ट का मोस्टली फॉरेन कंट्रीज में देखा होगा कहीं पे भी आपको ऐसे नहीं, यहाँ तो हर जगह खुली है जगह पे वो डस्ट वो ही। और पर्टिकुलरली सर जो मैकेनिकल स्वीपर की बात करते हैं हम लोग, मैं तो खैर कई बार प्लान में रहा हूँ एमसीडी के, तो जो बिगर रोड हैं जैसे 60 जो है फीट एंड अबव उस तरह वाले, उस पे पीडब्ल्यूडी या एमसीडी जो है इन्होंने एमसीडी ने एनडीएमसी ने अपने मैकेनिकल स्वीपर लगाए, बट कोई उसमें ज्यादा फायदा नहीं हुआ, अचीवमेंट हो पाया, बिकॉज जो लेंस हैं पर्टिकुलर जहाँ पे डस्ट है, इंक्लूडिंग जो बड़े रोड है आरटीएल रोड है उसमें सारी गाड़ियां लगी, किनारे सब डस्ट है, उसका कोई ठीक से कोई प्लानिंग नहीं हुआ अनटिल अनलेस जो लेंस पे और जो रिंग रोड से लिंक जो है रियल रोड से उन पे प्रॉपरली नहीं होगा मैकेनिकल स्वीपिंग, तो कोई फायदा नहीं हो पाएगा। जो बड़े रोड केवल जो है रिंग रोड करने से और ऐसे बड़े रोड करने से केवल एक बेसिकली आई वॉश होगा दैट वे।
मैं 1 मिनट और लेना चाहता हूँ। मुझे एक आइडिया आया कि हम लोगों का जो मेजरमेंट का तरीका है एयर क्वालिटी का, दैट नीड्स रिव्यू। हम लोगों ने बल्कि और ज़्यादा उसे सिंपल कर दिया है कि एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स एक सिंगल फिगर से हम चाहते हैं कि आप अंडरस्टैंड कर लें कि एयर क्वालिटी कैसी है, जबकि मोस्टली इट इज़ प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ फाइन डस्ट, नथिंग मोर। तो थिंग इज दैट other harmful things like benzene and other volatile compounds and many other things that are now known to be present in urban air, but they are not measured nor controlled. So I think that we should not give up research and application in this direction, so that we do not continue with the old parameters and start feeling very happy once we have brought down the fine dust to a lower level. That should not be there because there are other threats emerging.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Definitely will continue with your suggestions and the recommendations. It will be a major part of that. Now I request our friend जो इस फील्ड में पर्टिकुलर दिल्ली के लिए तो लास्ट अबाउट आई थिंक मोर देन 20 ईयर्स से तो इस फील्ड में कर ही रहे हैं और लास्ट 10 ईयर्स से तो बहुत ही एक्टिव वो करके डॉक्टर जॉर्ज ने लीड ली है। तो आई रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर एमपी जॉर्ज फ्रॉम डीपीसीसी कि आज इस रिपोर्ट पे जो डिस्कस हम कर रहे हैं इस पे अपने व्यूज और फर्दर कॉन्क्रीट सजेशंस क्या, डॉक्टर जॉर्ज।
गुड मॉर्निंग वंस अगेन। परितोष सर ने जो बोल दिया उसके बाद कुछ बोलने को बचा नहीं, फिर भी सो वी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द रिपोर्ट इटसेल्फ, जो वर्ल्ड एयर क्वालिटी रिपोर्ट है। आई एम ऑडिबल?
Yes sir, बिल्कुल।
Yeah. So what we are seeing in that report, first of all, it's on the basis of PM 2.5 only. If you see it, they says they use the network available with the NGO, institutions, and all other whatsoever analyzer available. They use data from them, and they said कि IQ Air calibrated I fail to understand. I am not challenging, I am not doubting their integrity, but how can they calibrate the data without assessing my analyzers? At least they never ask for the calibration reports of DPCC analyzers. And we never gave the access to them to calibrate. Of course, DPCC have our own schedule and we do it. But what about the low-cost sensor? How they are calibrating that data? That's one question. Second thing, they says that this data is the pollution-based averaged. I don't know. It will benefit the Delhi or not. I'm not worried here about the Delhi or Dhaka or anything. I am worried about they must weigh this average with the number of the analyzer available per square kilometer area. If a big city has single analyzer, and whatsoever is the population of that city, you are averaging, you are not getting anything. But anyway, that's a big organization doing the report, and the report is excellent, no doubt. But I have my data. Now comes, they shows that Southeast Asian cities are more polluted. That's a well-known thing. Because we are dusty, so we have the more particulate, and it shows the higher values. So that's one part where now comes the Delhi, the worst polluted capital. If you say on the basis of particulate, I like the word dusty. If they used, it's the most dusty capital, I liked it. That's a fact. Because as Paritoshji said, we are measuring mass, 45 microgram or 50 microgram or 100 microgram, but we don't know how toxic it is. So only on the basis of the mass, if you are labeling one city or one country most polluted, it's not correct, because we are in the Indo-Gangetic plain. We have the windblown dust and mainly PM10. If you see the annual data, most of the time, except winter time, our contribution of PM10 and PM10 is almost 60 to 70%. PM2.5 is less. And only in winter, PM2.5 increase because the local burning and so many other things are there. Now, if we see what's the source here, as sir said, automobile is the one of the source, but still we are improving in the automobile also. We jump to we have the better engine, we have the better fuel. Road resuspension, yes, it's a problem. But as Dr. Anil Kumar said, the problem is that we are not cooperating. Our parking is on the one side of the road. Whatever mechanical road sweeping is happening on the one side, just near to median, they are collecting the dust and the taking. And the most worrying part here by using the mechanical road sweepers, what we are doing with the dust collected. If my memory is not failing, one of the commissioner of MCD said they are collecting 50,000 metric ton dust per year. When you ask the question, where you disposed, no one knows. 50,000 ton or 100 ton, that's a different issue. But if you are not disposing it, so you are just transferring problem A place to B place. And when you talk about Delhi or any city, the dust exists there. So most important part is disposal of the collected dust. The amount may be increasing or decreasing, that hardly matter. Now comes the diesel generator section. As far as Delhi is concerned, Delhi is electric surplus city. Our generators, if you say the average, sir, hardly 1 hour per month it is used, and that too only in the big institutions or wherever lift they are using it, because the electric failures is now relatively very less. So even they are asking the diesel generator set honors when the condition is put to collect the PM 2.5 from system, to put the system over to collect the PM 2.5. The question raised, it's very costly affair, and because the usage time is very less. So, but anyway, commission is directed, and from the November onwards, if they want to operate their generator set up to 800 kVA, they have to put a system which can collect 70% of PM emission. This is the thing. And I discussed initially with Anil Kumar also. What is the scenario? Are we getting somewhere? Yes, if you see the PM10 vis-a-vis 2018 and 2021, about 20% reduction is there. And PM10 also shows the reduction 12 to 15%. So things are improving. But once again, the problem comes. You are talking about a city of 1,400 square kilometer area. And if we work on the airtight compartments, we never achieve anything. Some city which is on the upwind is polluting me, and some city which is downwind of me, I am polluting them. So once again, we have to airshed-based approach, then only things will improve. I think Dr. Anil Kumar, for this time, this much. I will come back when
yes,
I listen to this.
Thank you, Dr. Jaj. I think you have made the, very, very important points, particularly regarding the DG sets and what the new directive of the Commission for Air Quality Management and Road Suspension Dust. Because I recall, हम लोग डिपार्टमेंट में तो हमने गाइडलाइंस भी बनाई थी, डस्ट को कैसे डिस्पोज करेंगे एंड एवरीथिंग.
Yeah, still we got that SOP.
Yes, yes. हम लोगों ने पूरा करके और उसकी इंटरनेशनल बेस थी, कैसे उसको डस्ट को और कहाँ डिस्पोज करना, किस तरह से कैसे कलेक्ट करके क्या करना. बड़ा अगर वो नहीं फॉलो हो रहा तो ये बहुत बड़ा हमारे लिए है कि हम लोग एफर्ट्स करने के बाद भी वो इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं होता है. चलिए, we should continue our efforts at least further. So thank you, Dr. George. We'll come back definitely और डिस्कस करेंगे. नाउ आई विल रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर साहा, हमारे दीपंकर साहा जी, तो सीपीसीबी से. साहा साहब ज्वाइन है ना सर?
हाँ है, तो मार्केट में है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. और साहा साहब को बता दें, कल साहा साहब हमारे बहुत अच्छे साइंटिस्ट हैं और इतना इंटरेस्ट है हमारी मीटिंग में कि सर को मैंने कल भेजा प्रोग्राम, तो कल 12 बजे हमसे सर कहते कि हम ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे. मैंने कहा सर मीटिंग 12 बजे संडे को है.
मजाक कर रहे क्या करे, वो जो इशू है ना.
तो सर डॉक्टर साहा को बहुत इंटरेस्ट और हमारे बहुत काफी एक्टिव मेंबर हैं, तो थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहा, प्लीज.
तो परितोष सर नमस्कार, प्रणाम, और सभी डिग्निटरीज को मेरा सलाम, नमस्कार, नवरात्रि का शुभकामनाएं सभी को. इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल टॉपिक दैट IAQ, they have published a report, and when I was going through that report, I was remembering what is the definition of air pollution, and it talks about only PM 2.5, and the terminology regarding the geogenic, the geography, the climate, they have not spelled out anything on these aspects. I was surprised to whether it is a scientific report or a comparative report of collected data, compilation of something. It is not at all a scientific report, to my opinion. Even the data, when it is not normalized, even the scientists, and if they are putting up the raw data in such a format, I don't consider it is a report, scientific report. It is creating panic among the society, and they are defaming the southeastern region. I would straight away can say I don't have any hesitation to tell any person that it is creating panic among the society. If you are comparing, somebody was asking me yesterday on this report, सर लंदन और दिल्ली में अंतर क्या है? मतलब लंदन में डेली बारिश होता है, डेली, एवरी डे देयर इज रेन, एंड इफ यू आर कंपेयरिंग दिल्ली विथ
Delhi pollution and London pollution, it is not at all logical to compare. One should not compare it even. When George is there, I have nothing to say. We said very much in the beginning, when 2019 we came, 2009, then 10, 11, we did lot of homework. Thank you, George Shah. We did lot of homework, field work, analytical work, this study, that study, and so many things we did for Delhi. And with that time only we concluded that we cannot control geogenic sources in Delhi NCR. What we can do, we can reduce toxicity in our breathing air, and we can achieve significant reduction in the air pollution if we are able to manage our land. We are not really paying attention to our land. Everybody is talking about this ban, that reduction, that prohibition. They're not thinking this sustainable development, how it is possible through the land management. People are not thinking. Isko band kar do. No, what is the rationale behind band kar do? Nobody knows. There's so much construction activities around the rivers. So much bricklanes are working along the entire thing. Nobody is carrying them. Everybody needs bricks, and nobody is saying decentralization of buildings. Nobody is talking about that. As people are trying to centralize everything in one thing, the pollution will automatically increase. The population density is increasing, their activity is increasing, vehicle numbers are increasing. But people are not really talking about in that line. But whenever the report comes, we are dying, this much of people are dying. Even we don't have the current model for Delhi, I'm telling you. In Western countries, the life expectancy is 79 or 80 years. In our cases, it is 73. If somebody is talking about comparing their data with our data, again, I will say the word, it is a foolish interpretation. Our socio-economic condition, if you go to our villages, if you go to our there, the life expectancy, particularly it is 50. And if you are comparing with urban, then it goes around 70. We are not paying attention to our life. We really do not know where we want to go. We believe in creating panic, but we really not trying to understand what the people are telling, and nobody is coming forward to defend the report. That is another problem. The scientists, they are not willing to deal the subject scientifically. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saha. I think this is also already Dr. George and I think our earlier speaker. In the report, the low-cost air quality monitors have been used, sensors used by non-profit organizations. This is also the data. I think we cannot include in a very scientific report. Dr. George, I think this is very, very important to have. But low-cost sensors is still, I mean, this is the validity and the thing questionable. That.
No, sir, low-cost sensor, actually, if you are making the all total world report, and if you are using the low-cost sensor, data is not comparable. Yeah. I am worried about between the Delhi and Cochin and Delhi and Jammu. Yes, you can't use. Even you can't use that sensor if it is the Yamuna river bed with the sensor at the Najafgarh. Because you have to calibrate it. The problem is the temperature and humidity, 2 parameter itself make the major difference for the low-cost sensor. So if at all someone want to use the low-cost sensor, they have to calibrate it thoroughly, properly for at least 3 to 4 cycles. seasonal cycle. Without that, just co-locating a sampler and giving the data is very dangerous.
Yeah, I think CPCB has issued clarification recently. Data issues only for dust control and things like that can be, I mean, the low cost can be, but for scientific comparison, I mean, there should be a lot of further research and the kind of validation is required. Actually.
Dr. Saab, if you ask me my personal opinion,
yeah,
we have to go far away with the low cost sensor at this moment, except a few, which I can't call the low cost sensor. That's a medium level sensor. They give some reliable result. Otherwise, if you talk about this 10,000, 20,000 sensor, it's useless. You are just putting something and getting some data and showing it.
Yes.
So when there was may I add 1-2 line, please?
Yeah, Dr.
When there was, I started when I was head of air laboratory division in CPCB. It was me who started understanding the low cost sensors in CPCB. 17-18, we organized the seminars also. In that circumstances, we told it may give indicative measurement only in case of particulate matter, not any other parameter provided. But categorically, I also told if an instrument or a data is not able to calibrate, should not be used. Now, the problem with the low cost sensor or so-called sensor, you cannot calibrate it because these are just sense. It is not analyzer. The basic difference between an analyzer and a sensor, the people are not willing to understand.
Yeah.
And Dr. Tyagi is also there. I told in the Indian Association Air Pollution Control also, categorically told, we must use immediately, CPCB or ministry must use circular that no those low cost data should reach to the public, if they remember. I told, and in 2006, after 10 years, or maybe after maybe 17, so after some years, CPCB now realized that there is a need of issuing a strong letter to the public and to the address to the State Pollution Control Board. Why they could not write? Why we have encouraged the low cost sensor people to misguide? This is really a ridiculous thing. I never anticipated from the intelligent people sitting in our Delhi people. This is again a problem for them. No data. If you are giving wrong data and wrong interpretation to the people, it's a crime. So wrong thing we never should be encouraged, and the so-called intelligent people, they must prevent sending all this wrong information to the public. So Dr. Anil ji, this report, immediately we should tell without methodology, without correction factor, without normalization, without understanding the anthropogenic sources, geologic sources, we don't accept its report. Actually, those data. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Saha. Now I request Dr. S.K. Tyagi ji from CPCB. He was additional director.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anil, and good afternoon, everyone present in this meeting. So this is very, very important discussion going on, and Dr. George and Saha Saab has put forth their very, very motivating views. And I also now, earlier we used to see the WHO reports with a very sincerity, but now WHO reports are losing their sincerity itself. Even I don't like to read them, I am telling you, because it now give an impression of that WHO has become a political party on world level. As rightly pointed out Dr. Saha, why they are writing only PM 2.5, not all the pollutants worldwide. That is first thing. Second thing, why they are not collecting only authentic data from the national regulatory bodies, and based on that they should come up with the report. Because if they come up with the report with all sort of data, then what will be the sanctity of that data? Now we are discussing a lot about the low cost sensor also, and CPCB has awakened and come out with the directions not to include the low cost sensor data in any national network or AQI or any for regulatory purpose. So these are some bigger issues, and as Dr. Shah told, we last year only resolved in a meeting through IAPC, in which Dr. Mukesh from IIT Kanpur was there, Dr. Khare from IIT Delhi was there, and all the IAPC functionaries were there, and we all were of the view, and NPL was also there, that there is no sanctity of the data of the low cost sensor without proper calibration. Let me tell you, calibration facilities available in India in NPL, and very few people know that. But one thing I would like to tell you, that this is not a very low cost calibration facility. It is also quite costly. It may be more than the cost of the low cost sampler itself. So that is one issue we should know. So, and without calibration, how we can accept the data? There may be variation from 50% to 300%. We never know how much variation is there in the low cost sensor data. So this is about the sanctity of the data compiled at WHO level I am talking. Now we come to the air pollution. There is no doubt. It is evident that Delhi is polluted city, and there are multi source present in Delhi, and we have to address all of them. And Dr. George has bring out a very good issue of the dust collected on the roads. Until unless that is disposed of properly, it will resuspend in the ambient air, and it will be recirculating there itself. Then you control all the air pollution probably. Even then, you cannot control pollution more than 50%. That we have experienced in the COVID-19. The 2020 was the cleanest year in last 10 years if you see the data. And even that data shows that PM concentration 2.5 was around 28-30, and PM10 was more than 40. So that was the level during when all activities were shut down because of the lockdown. So we cannot expect more than 50% reduction in the pollution. Now what may be the another option? All are discussing here. We all know what are those sources and how to control them, what should be the action plan, and government is making the action plan city oriented. So that is not a question. But what I think additionally we can do, we are yet not focusing on the green belt in cities, in Delhi also, except few area. We have greenery, but most of the places you will see we have very less greenery, and there is no guideline, no concept. If you develop a new township or new colony for the construction industry, that how much trees or the greenery they have to develop, and whether they are developing it, if there is any guideline. So why it is not being implemented properly? And it should not be, in my opinion, less than 25-30% of the area of the development. Then we can prevent or abate pollution to some extent. If you see such cities like Chandigarh, where you have good greenery, good roads, you will have less air pollution. So we have to make a distinct approach apart from the pollution control in the city planning, town planning, and greenery. So that is my suggestion. So I thank for giving me the time. Thank you very much, Dr. Anil.
Thank you, Tyagi sir. Thank you.
एक मिनट अनिल जी,
Yes, sir.
अभी चंडीगढ़ मेंबर्स पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल कमेटी के मेंबर सेक्रेटरी a few days back I had a discussion with him. So he told all the efforts, including the dust sucker, what you call it, smoke tower, they have installed it. Dr. Tyagi is telling that a lot of greeneries are also there. City is a planned one. Lot of regulatory measures have been initiated. But even after doing so, he is not. George is claiming 20% reduction in the PM2 and PM2.5 reduction. But he told there is no significant improvement in the ambient air quality of Chandigarh. He was talking about until and unless Punjab, Haryana and all the nearby areas are covered under the framework of NCAP, it will not, entire state he was talking about, not the NCAP cities, it will not improve. It was his suggestion. Only few परसों का बात है sir. I had a discussion with him. So
Dr. Saab,
greenery is not the only solution. We have to pay the attention to the emission.
But this is the one of the important components, sir. Definitely one of. Yeah, yes, Dr. George. Yes. Dr. George.
Dr. Saab, as far as this greening is concerned, I think someone's microphone is.
Yeah.
Actually, as far as the greening is concerned, yes, the bald patches we have to do green by grasses or shrubs. But if you see the Delhi's experience, we increase the greenery, no doubt about it. And now we are facing the problem of ozone. So we generally, in very, very common like paracetamol, we prescribe the green belt and greenery. We have to be very careful about the greenery and water sprinkling, which is the most common thing which we say, spray the water. Because with the greenery, your ozone concentrations are increasing. And with the water sprinkling, you have the more bigger particulates. So these two things. And one more thing I want to say about Delhi, we have to concentrate about biomass burning. Because the reason we have excessive greenery, they do the pruning, the biomass is available at the free cost because the DDA and MCD put in one park and leave it there. The nearby people, they collect it and they burn it because they are getting this fuel at the zero cost. They use for heating, they use for cooking, and that biomass is coming in your system once again. This thing also I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
George साहब आपका permission से एक चीज मैं ज़्यादा time नहीं लूँगा.
Please.
Water sprinkling.
Yeah.
it again is not a proven mitigation measure.
So that's what I'm
Because-
telling, sir.
Yes, well, this is again, I do not know why we are kept on doing the experiments. Even sometime I presume people are not doing the exercise and chemical analysis. I had the water droplets may form sometime the acid droplets in the air also. We have to be very careful in spraying the water also.
Acid will not form, sir, in the northern India because my soil
No,
is
it will not
alkaline.
form. But no, I'm not talking. I'm not talking about Delhi.
Yeah.
But in other places,
Yes.
sometimes it may create problem.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm discussing, it is for general prevention measures.
Yes.
And this should be included. Without testing, it should not be permitted.
We have to test it. We have to optimize the quantity also, sir.
Yes. Without testing, just spray on creeping water. These are the emergency measure you can apply for once in a week or once in a month or sometime. But should not be a regular prescription of going for it. And you have correctly pointed out, Mr. George. That's why I pay attention.
I think
I have a big regulation.
Supreme Court also suggested this the installation of smoke gun at the construction site. I mean, that was the. So this also the similar there.
Dr. Saab is absolutely right. Actually, sometime our judiciary as knee-jerk reaction suggests something like smoke tower or the smoke guns and all. But somewhere the scientific community must stand up and tell.
Only I told the smog whenever. Yes, I as the person who have objected it. Why you are wasting money in this way? And then the people are not coming forward for the actual measure. They are going along with the flow. What the WHO says, we are following. What is the report says, we are following. What is the basis, the background, rational, logical? We are not trying to understand.
Sir Tyagi ji used enough hard word for the WHO. Because I am surprised when I see at the Muradabad LEQ is 118. I don't know which type of noise meter they use.
Yes, this is not
You can't get the 118 dB.
George साहब इसलिए आपको इतना बड़ा regards है. The natural VOCs will contribute to generate ozone. The people are not trying to understand. I do not know when they will understand.
I think साहब हम लोगों ने बहुत टाइम ले लिया और लोगों को
definitely thank you. मैं आप रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा हमारे कलीग हैं द्वारकानाथ जी. We have only 6-7 minutes today. We can have a final concluding session in the next Sunday for this report. I mean, whatever the suggestions that come out, we can have further. Our expert can speak on that. But today only we have 7 minutes. So I'll request Dr. Dwarkanath, who was in the Department of Environment also, and the Director Pondicherry, Member Secretary also. So over to Dr. Dwarkanath, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all my friends and colleagues, and namaste to Paritosh Tyagi Saab also. And यहाँ पर है ना बहुत डिस्कशन ऑलरेडी डॉक्टर जॉर्ज और साहा साहब और त्यागी जी और अनिल कुमार जी और परितोष जी ने बोला है. मैं तो सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूँ. See, we have to distinguish between the survival emissions and luxury emissions. First of all, the measurement and the instrumentation that is used, these are to be questioned. At best, it is like a chromatography. Any kind of, there is a analysis called technique is there. The Tyagi Saab, SK Tyagi ji or Saha Saab will be in a better position to explain. There is a qualitative analysis and a quantitative analysis. ठीक है, ये low cost sensor or whatever other kind of sensors which are not calibrated properly, they can give a qualitative estimation or indication of pollutants. But whether to take this the same thing for the quantitative analysis and the exact precision of it, that needs to be questioned, number one. Number two, again, our emissions should not be compared with any other's emission. How individual human beings' genetic makeup is, how it is different, like that individual cities' pollution status and their background status is totally different. So it is not realistic and not logical to compare one city with the other. The kind of population pressure and the basic needs that Delhi or any developing countries meet cannot be compared with Western countries. This is what rightly distinguished in 1992 Rio conference by our Indian delegate, that the survival emissions shall not be and should not be compared with the luxury emissions. So with these opening remarks, I thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwarkaji. I think you have very rightly said. I mean, this should not be, but normally it is being in any report, any international report. This is being and focus in both South Asia and particularly the Indian region. So definitely we are, or India, maybe North India, but Indo-Gangetic Plain is always in the hitting line. So definitely
because it suits many people, no? Because developing country, especially India, has to be degraded worldly. So they do it. Now, are they talking anybody about Russian war or 20 years of Afghanistan war? Anybody is talking about how many lives have been lost and how much air pollution was quantified every year? Nobody talks. Neither WHO cares for it or World Bank cares for it. For them, it is convenient to degrade developing countries.
Yes, always, sir. So thank you. Since today we have the 3-4 minutes, so I think now I'll again request Tyagi sir to final blessing words for the closing of the today meeting. Parthosh Tyagi sir, that your though already said, but this your final for today meeting, your blessing words, and then we'll close we have 3-4 minutes. Yes.
Thank you. These discussions were very good, and I think there are two aspects. One is management of air quality, which is a general topic, and I spoke on that general topic. The other thing is the value of that report and what we can learn from it. Whatever be the quality of report, there is still possibility of deriving something useful for ourselves. So since the discussion on the report is more topical, let us concentrate more on the report next time.
Yeah.
And what we can derive from it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your always blessing. And despite in the last couple of weeks, your bad health, you just always give blessings to this group. And thank you all our expert members who've spoken today, particularly Dr. George. Always we request him, though he's busy, he's Sunday, going for church. I mean, and so at the same time, so I requested him to at least join today, at least, and sometime whenever we discuss such reports, we request him. Dr. Saha, Dr. S.K. Tyagi, Dr. Dwarkanath, and all our colleagues. And definitely, who are not able to speak today, we can next Sunday we can conclude this report, and the others can, particularly Pradeep Khandelwal ji, Sanjeev Kumar ji, and all Neeraj ji, Ankit, and all do be, then we can discuss next Sunday, and finally we can have our recommendations, particularly based on this report, and also for the whatever the experience and no air pollution is definitely increasing, we can concrete steps we can say. With this remark, I'll close again to Dr. KK CFI, the Heart Care Foundation of India, the World जो Health Week जो मना रहे हैं, उसमें different activities हैं. आज उसी का this also the round table is part of that World Health Week, और उसमें हम different programs कर रहे हैं. स्कूलों में भी जा करके physically भी जाना शुरू हो गया है, और उसके साथ भी उनकी टीम स्कूलों से और भी different places पे जा करके हमारे जो भी members of the SCFI के हैं और इस तरह से कर रहे हैं. तो thank you, and we will close and then have I think you can all enjoy a good lunch on Sunday, and we are not able to provide because sometime we'll have, now things are better, we can have a kind of some physical session sometime. We can also offer lunch or high tea sometime. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
सर एक हाई टी मेरी तरफ से पेंडिंग पड़ी हुई है
सर. खंडेलवाल जी आपके थी, लेकिन वो बीच में फिर वो कभी ओमिक्रॉन आ गया, कभी डेल्टा के बाद, तो फिर वो थोड़ा रह ही गया सर. जो
नाउ फिक्स द डेट फॉर हाई टी एट दिस झील प्रोजेक्ट.
हाँ, झील का आपका सर बिल्कुल ड्यू है, तो कर लेते हैं डिस्कस. आई थिंक थिंग्स आर नाउ ओपन, और सब बेटर है तो आप कर लेते हैं। एंड आपसे सर खंडेलवाल जी, आपका एक्सपीरियंस पर्टिकुलरली जो दिल्ली का फायर और इस तरह का जो इस एयर पोल्यूशन का जो इश्यूज है, कैसे इसको है, विल डिस्कस नेक्स्ट टाइम सर।